Good morning, Vietnam. It's your mans and them File Sharpton, aka the Toothless Wonder, reporting on the Bamboozled Again News Network, where Negroes get bamboozled every day, V. But you down with the Most High, you be alright. And today's broadcast is brought to you by Beet Juice. Hold on. Beet Juice. I couldn't find the actual beetroot juice, but I'll see if that do any justice. You know what I mean? And this video will be sponsored also by the brother Saving Souls Ministry on here. He had made a comment on my last video saying we're gonna have an impact. And my brain said, there it is. That's the whole point in my whole existence on earth. Ultimately to, now that I understand it, to honor law, statutes, commandments, live in a way that the Most High deems, acceptable, right? And I think by default of doing that, being set apart, being quote unquote chosen, eventually, at some point, you'll have an impact. If you haven't had an impact already, thinking on my personal experience in life, I've had an impact already. They just be dismissive of it. You know what I'm saying? My time at the job, my time in the streets, my time in the courthouse. I share a story with y'all, right? And this is just gonna happen just because of who God made you, right? So I was on my way to North Carolina, ended up throwing a ball at somebody, got short stopped, so I didn't feel like going to North Carolina with a pending charge looming over my head. So I called my old foreman, got back to work, everything on deck. So I go to court for throwing the bottle at the dude, right? So I hadn't been in any trouble in a significant amount of time, but I was still kind of nervous, going back up in the courthouse. So I say, man, boy. So I know I got to put my best foot forward. Because I don't want the judge to look at, because I do got a record. I just ain't did nothing in a while. But I don't want him to look at me like the old head says no hard head, right? So I got some suits and whatnot. But I was like, nah, I got wow, right? So I go in my pop closet. Me and him about the same size. And he had this sherbet colored, like a light orange Stacey Adams demonstration with the solid silk tie to match, silk white shirt, and the shoes. What are those? I said, yeah, this will get them, right? So I goes on down to Annapolis from Glen Burnie, hops on the bus, gets off the bus down Annapolis and walk towards the courthouse. I guess everybody know I'm going at. The early morning truck driver, they were honking the horn. I'm putting up the black power fist, you know what I'm saying? They know what's finna happen, right? So I goes up in the camp, and actually a dude I used to get the weed from is actually in court too in my neighborhood. So they try to give him 10 years. So we lined up, checking in with the state people or whatever, state's attorney. So I peeked my head out the line like a turtle. I said, take your time, cuz. Put my head back in right, da-da-da. So I get called up. That go however it go. I think I pled guilty, just put me on probation. But I already know I'm going back to jail, though, because I don't plan on paying for the dude's windshield because he made me do it. That's my thinking at the time, right? So leaves out the courthouse, back to the business. So maybe a couple days later, I'm getting off of work back in the neighborhood, high step into the house, and the dude from court called me again, but I totally forgot I had seen him. So hey, Kyle, come here, cuz, woo, woo. So I'm like, let me see what cuz wants to. I'm trying to hurry up, get in the house, eat, shower, after work. So as I approach it, I'm like, oh yeah, what happened with you in court? So he said he got his joint postponed, but he was like, yeah, man, that's what I want to talk to you about. So after I get out of, after my particular case is called, and adjudicated or whatever you want to call it, I rolls out. So unbeknownst to me, I'm gone. So the judge calls for a recess. They'll say all rise, whatever. But the judge still sitting there. So everybody standing waiting for him to get up and depart. Eventually sat there so long, according to the weed man, he say, the bailiff had to lean into him like, hey, can't nobody leave till you get up. He said, oh yeah, I was just sitting here thinking about Mr. Thomas' shoes. You know what I'm saying? Just little stuff like that. We'll give you, what's the word I'm looking for? A precursor. Even small things are things to come. You see what I'm saying? Just your presence has an impact. Granted, people will probably hate on you or be dismissive of you or try to knock you or belittle you in these sleight of hand kind of ways. But you just think you regular. At least I do. But you'd be surprised at the profound impact us, who are called by the Most High, have. Especially now as Babylon and the illusion thereof is falling, you might be isolated, from family, friends. You might, I don't know, have a hard route or a hard way financially. I was thinking about this too last night. For, the people have had to cut off or tried me or, tried to work me or whatever the case may be. When certain things start happening, I guarantee I'd be the first person they call. People I done forgot about be done called me. Because I'm probably the only person they've ever met on earth who done said the stuff I've said to them in truth, or they've seen me do stuff they ain't never seen done before on earth. You know what I'm saying? Just by default. I'm a Annapolis courthouse legend for going in that joint representing myself. Granted, I was dead wrong, and I'm trying to put American society on indictment. At the time, I'm thinking I'm contributing something to the cause. I'm thinking I'm up there with my heroes. Mind you, I was dead wrong. I did it the wrong way. But I think at that time I never went to prison because I think they figured I was so naive or stupid that eventually we'll just put him on probation and then he'll do something super crazy and then we'll really throw him, but it never happened. Or I get off probation, or I commit a new charge 2 weeks after I go off probation, or I do something real slight like P Dirty, but they never really could send me, you know what I mean? I still have issues with Anne Arundel County, getting my record expunged and all that, but, whatever, I ain't even stunting them people, man. But this is just a little encouraging word to start off our Monday morning. You will have an impact. And you ain't even got to try to do it. It'll, like how the words say, a man gift will make room for him. Like even in my pursuits and endeavors of jobs or career or opportunities and whatever, I do my due diligence. I do whatever, come to mind. But I ain't even really scratching, racking my brain trying to, it'll all happen by default. Long as I stay on the path, long as I, attempt to live a life of repentance each and every day, I own up to my sins and my mistakes when I make them. I ask the God to help me genuinely and sincerely. You know what I'm saying? I stay out of ego and pride. You know what I'm saying? I continue to remain humble and teachable. You know what I'm saying? And be led by the Spirit. All that's going to happen by default. Which also ties into the video I made a couple videos ago in reference to Spartacus, right? Or I used to identify, like maybe you're younger and you kind of like idolize certain people or groups of people, like maybe, sports figures or politicians or something. For me, it was always freedom fighters. I always found that powerful. You know what I'm saying? And the things they went through on the pursuit of an ideal and a concept, something that was greater than they themselves. And at the time, more oftentimes than not, when they were alive, people hated them. But we still remember them long after they're gone because of what? The impact they had. There's certain freedom fighters from, let's say, the Black Panther are still locked up. And they won't let them out because of the impact they had 30 to 40 years ago. That's why I think I kind of, as I got older, I think I started using like 16, 17. Because this, school and, I like playing sports and stuff like that for me, but I think I started leaning into more drugs and alcohol for fulfillment. Because I'm like, what I was doing in school, how's any of this impactful? Just teaching me to be like everybody else. I'm trying to become a legend in the game. What's the, again, the Most High. But even when I was younger, I'm like, I'm on earth for a reason. I was very self-aware even when I was younger. Like, there's a reason I'm born into this family. There's a reason why, I felt like I was not like in the family, but I was implanted into the family. And these were the people chosen to be my caretakers. There's a reason why I grew up where I grew up at. There's a reason why the high school I went to, the moniker was the name Warriors. I knew all that in real time, or at least felt that. I probably couldn't quantify it then, but every step of my life and all the seemingly random circumstances have all been training for greatness, for impact in the name of the Most High. I think that's also why, even though I was skilled at certain things, it still wasn't allowed to work or would fall apart mysteriously. Because if if I come up with an idea and I'm able to facilitate that through my own hand, then I wouldn't have the understanding of the active necessity of the Most High at all times. I just be thinking I can just do stuff. And granted, most of the stuff is noble, wise, but we can do no good thing apart from the Most High. You see what I'm saying? I like, in reference, because that's kind of like the latest reference point I got, the reference of the old job. I ain't been there. The first time I left is almost be 2 years in March. And they ain't seen not near nutter like me. Not near nutter. And to me, I didn't do nothing super spectacular, other than operating a skill set that was already honed before I got there. Even with what I got going on now, with various, legal issues and, just, personal goals that I'm trying to hit and obtain. It's all training for me to step into whatever the Most High would have me to do. And I would like to believe it has to be in the helps ministry, because we're greatly deficient in help. Genuinely. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, it's, from what I see, like say your TD Jakes of the world, yeah, you call yourself say helping, but are you actually empowering? That's my thing. I want to empower others. A la back to Spartacus. He didn't necessarily help them. He did help them. But ultimately, by action, word, deed, he empowered disenfranchised people who were labeled the least among society, and darn near took down the world empire with the least of those. That's just a real quick one. Shout out to Saving Souls Ministry. Actually, like, if I don't have some impact, what's the purpose of being here? I mean, yeah, I get $1 million, and yeah, you can, all that seems like, even if I had $1 million and I could go to, like, the BT red carpet and all that, I'd be home or by the beach or doing something like that. I don't want to go with them people. That's not impactful to me. Hanging out with wolves or other oppressed people white folk done gave money to bamboozle everybody else. No, I don't want to hang out with them. For what? And I'm going to stick out like a sore thumb. That ain't going to do nothing but try to backdoor me. Nah, I'll be all right, yeah. I don't even feel like mess with them folk. You know what I'm saying? They got my spidey sense tingling. You know what I'm saying? Even if we look at the scriptures. And I realize this, like maybe looking at, Joseph, David, anybody anointed for a certain particular cause. They didn't, like, intellectualize and then think themselves into the position. They walked the path the Most High had, and then eventually he opened the door through circumstances for them to assume the position he had already anointed them, typically decades beforehand. They say the longer you make you wait, the bigger it is. And then that alludes to a video I made earlier where the Negro, man, you gotta be great by default. My aunt told me one time, I think I was cutting up in school or something, and she was saying, you don't realize you're gonna have to be that much smarter and work that much harder just to be on par with everybody else. Because you got 2 strikes against you and you ain't did nothing. You're black and you're a male. I said, boy, she done dropped one on me there. That's why they got all these agendas against the black man, because they know how great you are. And then in the inversion of society, have everybody thinking, oh, you're dusty, oh, you're this, oh, you're a deadbeat. To keep, constantly psychologically to get you to believe the narrative they putting on you when they know you great. They hoping you don't find out. Because if a handful of Negroes find out how great they is, we could darn near take this down intellectually. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Negro, only person I know makes something out of nothing. That's why, like, I think I said this before, where drug dealing don't take over the way it take over. Like, yeah, I guess the Mexican man or South American man, he can have all the raw material, but he can't move it all over Earth like that. He need Negro do that. You know what I'm saying? Negro sing the greatest songs known to man. In Hellfire. You know what I'm saying? That Sam Cooke jump, change gonna come. Impact. You know what I'm talking about? Yes, sir. It don't get no realer, baby. It don't get no realer. Got the whole get here. And again, with our families looking the way it's looking, we're going to need some great Negroes in the land of mediocrity and indentured servitude in the wake of 9-to-5 culture and all that. You got to be great by default. And I don't think Negro going to have to try that hard. Just naturally be them. And whatever skill set they have based on their experience. You great anyway. I don't know of no other people who still kind of somewhat maintain through all this trauma of slavery and single parenthood and drugs and violence and the school system. You know, your mate despise you and all that. And Negroes still out here carrying on. I can guarantee you, if you black, more oftentimes than not, you know somebody who's personally been shot in the head and they still walking around. What other race of people on earth can endure the stuff we've endured? You know what I'm saying? And still halfway function. Or not even function, just carry on a whole bunch of pain and don't nobody care. You'd be surprised what the average black man go through. You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir. But it's just all part of the journey. So, Negro take on his struggle. Negro wear his scars like a badge of honor. You know what I'm saying? Your war wounds. You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Greatness is before us. And on that note, I'm going to holler at y'all. Ooh,